Good morning and Boker Tov. Happy Thanksgiving. This is a very special holiday, a holiday where we express our gratitude to God for all of our blessings. And it's fascinating that the tradition in America is to eat turkey. Why turkey? Rosh Hashanah we dip the apple in honey because we want to have a sweet year. Passover we eat matzah because matzah represents humility, and freedom is when you're egoless and you're not held captive or prisoner by your ego. So freedom is through humility. Every holiday in Judaism has special foods that we eat. Sufganiyot. On Hanukkah we have donuts and latkes and oil to remember the miracle of the oil. What's the connection between turkey and giving thanks to God? And fascinatingly, the word in Hebrew for thanksgiving is hodu. Lahodot means to give thanks. And what's the Hebrew word for turkey? Hodu. So turkey in Hebrew means thanksgiving. And there's a theory that the reason they chose turkey, because many of the pilgrims on the Mayflower were Jewish. They knew Hebrew, and they chose turkey because of the Hebrew name of Hodu. So when you eat that turkey today, it's not about the turkey, it's about giving thanks to God. In this week's Torah portion, we find the word thanksgiving. When Leah gives birth to her fourth child, she names him Yehuda. Why Yehuda? Because she says, I will give thanks. Hapam odeh et Hashem. I will give thanks to God. Now rabbis say this is the source of thanksgiving in the Torah. And she was the first one to truly thank God. The question is, was she really the first one to thank God? There are other instances of people in the Torah before Jacob and Leah thanking God. And one of the beautiful answers given is that very often we thank God when we experience something beautiful, a blessing, happiness in our life. But the question is, do we maintain that happiness and that gratitude to God? And therefore what Leah did was, she said, at this time I will thank God, not just in the present, but in the future. By naming him Yehuda, every time I call his name, every time I refer to him, I will remember Yehuda to give thanks for the continuous blessing of my son and the gift that God gave me. And that's the key to Thanksgiving. It's not just one day a year, but every day to look at everything we have in our lives. And that's what the daily prayer book does, because human nature is that we focus on what's wrong in our lives. It's called negativity bias. Our minds and our hearts and our eyes are drawn to what's missing, what's lacking, and it doesn't allow us to appreciate what we have. I always say people wake up in the morning and they read the newspaper. The newspaper tells you all the bad news around the world, all the things that are going wrong, all the negativity. If instead of opening the newspaper the first thing in the morning or going on the internet to see what happened, you open your prayer book, you're going to see all the good things in your life. Thank you, God, that I could open my eyes and see. Thank you, God, that I could stand erect. Thank you, God, that I'm a free person. We thank God for everything in our lives. And that's what it means to live with gratitude every single day, not just on the holiday of Thanksgiving. Sometimes gratitude could literally save your life. There's a story that was related to a rabbi by the person who experienced this, who remains anonymous. And this was a man living in Jerusalem. And this man had deep financial worries, problems. His life was falling apart, and he was so depressed. And tragically, he decided one day he wants to end his life. He's going to commit suicide. Even though it's terrible sin, he felt he was in so much pain he had to end his life. And so he had a plan that on a certain day, he was going to go to work, and after work he was going to take his life and not come home to his family. As he was about to leave his house to work that morning, his wife says, oh, by the way, our son Yankee, who learns in the yeshiva in Jerusalem and dorms there all week, called. He needs some piece of clothing, an item. Could you drop it off at his yeshiva on the way to work? So he says, sure, I'll be happy to. He's thinking to himself, it's the last time I'm going to see my son, but I'll bring him what he needs. He pulls up at the yeshiva, goes upstairs into the building. When he walks into the lobby, he wants to inquire where his son is. And he sees a rabbi, one of the rabbis of this school, walking through the lobby. He says, excuse me, do you know where I can find my son now? And he tells the rabbi the name of his son. And the rabbi says, "You're the father of Yankee so-and-so? Wow, you have the most incredible son. Such a fine boy, such a good-natured boy, so respectful, so scholarly, so studious, so wonderful. He's such a delight. He's in my class. He's such a refined boy. You are blessed with such a terrific child that you raised so well." And the rabbi went on and on praising his son. He went and delivered clothing to his son. When he got back into his car, he said to himself, "How can I take my life? I have such a wonderful son. How could I leave him an orphan? And even though I have so many financial worries and problems, but I have the most important blessing, beautiful children, healthy children, good-natured, kind, accomplished children. That's enough of a reason to keep on living despite the challenges." Sometimes in life, we forget about all of our blessings and we focus on our challenges. Thanksgiving reminds us, not just today, but every day, to count your blessings, but not just count them, but to make them count. Let your blessings make a difference, not just in your life, but in the lives of others. Use your blessings to be a thanksgiving, to give and to share of your goodness and your blessings with others. Have a beautiful day, and when you eat the turkey, remember that the word for turkey in Hebrew is hodu, which means thanksgiving.